you all. My name is Noe, and I welcome you to a new session of English Tips at British House. Today, we are going to talk about the difference between the past simple and the past continuous. Are you ready? Come on, let's have a look. First, let's remember a little bit what each one of them is about. I am now going to share my screen with you, and we are going to analyze how the past simple works. As you can see here on my screen, the past simple is a tense that we use to talk about actions that are completely finished and they belong in the past, not in the present, not in the future. So the first thing we need to know when we talk about past simple is that we have two kinds of verbs, regular verbs and irregular verbs. Let's have a look at this. In the case of regular verbs, they are very easy to see because they finish with ed. Okay, so they are very easy to conjugate. In the case of irregular verbs, it's a bit more complicated. You need to have a look at a list. There are not that many verbs, but there is a list that will explain how each verb is conjugated. And they change. So they usually change their vowel sound. For example, do becomes did, break becomes broke, come becomes came. Okay? So you need to study those, or you can always check on the list if you have any doubts. So how do we make a sentence in the past simple? Well, here you have an example. My friends visited me yesterday. In this case, it's a regular verb ending with ed. Then we have another example. I bought a new book last weekend. In this case, the verb is buy, but in the past simple is bought. So how do we make the negative of the past simple? We use the auxiliary didn't, which is basically did plus not, and the infinitive verb. So the same sample sentences that we had before, we turn them into their negative form. My friends didn't visit me yesterday, and I didn't buy a new book last weekend. Now, we have to see how we make the question. For the question, we also use the auxiliary did, but we change the order. So the same sample sentences become, did your friends visit you yesterday? And did you buy a new book last weekend? So this is the past simple. We are talking about actions that are completely finished in the past. Now let's have a look at the past continuous. The past continuous is a bit different, and we have it right here. Now, the past continuous is a tense that we use to explain that an action was in progress at some point in the past. It means that the action has a duration. We want to emphasize the fact that it takes a while to complete that action. And again, it belongs in the past. So have a look at this question. What were you doing at 10 p.m. yesterday? I was watching TV. So this means that I started watching TV before 10. At 10, I was still watching TV, and I probably continued watching TV after 10. If I was watching a movie, for example, I was probably there for about 2 hours. So the action has a progress. It has a duration. So, as I was saying, we make the past continuous with the verb to be in the past tense, was or were, and the main verb in the ing form. So if you have a look at these sample sentences right here, we see the connection between the past simple and the past continuous. For example, they didn't go to the cinema because they were working. So something was happening at some point in the past, and that's why another action in the past didn't happen. In this case, they didn't go to the cinema. Another way of expressing this connection is saying, last year, she was studying in Rome. We are saying that during last year, this action was in progress. It was not just a one-day action, but a long action. The negative form, we put the negative into the verb to be, wasn't and weren't. So for example, I told him, but he wasn't paying attention. So one action happens in the past, I told him, but because he wasn't paying attention before, during, and after the moment I told him, he didn't understand what I said. And the last point we need to look at is how we make the question. We make the question by putting the verb to be before the main verb. So we say, what were you doing at 8 a.m. yesterday? And the answer will be, I was having breakfast, I was having a shower. So now that we are clear about the use of the past simple, finished actions in the past, and the past continuous, progressive actions in the past, let's have a look at how each one of them works individually and how they work together. If you have a look at these images that I will show you, in the first case, we are going to see how the past simple works. We usually use this one to talk about an action happening after another action. It's like a timeline, one after the other. So in this case, we have somebody's day, and we say that he went to work. After work, he went to the gym, and later he went home and watched TV. First went to work, then went to the gym, then went home, and then watched TV. We have some words that help us understand that each action happens after the other one. Things like after or later indicate that one finishes and then the other one begins. Then we will also have a look at how the past continuous works. In this case, two actions happen at the same time in the past. They are progressive and they coincide in time. So in this case, what was she doing yesterday? Well, she was reading while listening to music. So the two actions happen at the same time and they take a while. Yeah, this person was reading and was listening to music for a while. The word while will help us understand that we are talking about the past continuous. And finally, what happens when we put them together? Because we usually use these two tenses at the same time. Usually to say that one action interrupted another action that was in progress. In this case, he was having a shower when the phone rang. That means that he was having the shower before, then the phone rang, and he either stopped having the shower or he continued. Yet that the action of the phone ring, made the shower stop somehow. So in this case, the past simple interrupts the continuous action that was taking place and that we express with the past continuous. So I hope that you find this explanation useful, and I'll see you another day at English Tips at British House. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.